From students undergoing quasi-military training to become bodyguards, to a Chinese center that trains elite close security guards in cybersecurity. Find out today about the dangerous secrets and training of bodyguards. In Sens, a town located in the southwest of France, there is a training center like no other. Specialized in the training of private agents of close protection, or more simply, bodyguards. This establishment, called Celeste Group, has precisely what to surprise more than one person, and for good reason. The people who wish to be trained there go through an unusual curriculum. Indeed, the owners, Albin Yaros and Thierry Poirier, former military men, have thought of everything so that future bodyguards, who are destined to follow company managers, can face all kinds of situations. Thus, the managers first set up a physical and psychological test. After that, the selected persons will have to follow an intensive training. It will include courses in English, legal regulations, and geopolitics. But the most surprising thing is not there. Yes, the goal of this training is to allow them to defend their clients in case of danger. To do so, the trainees undergo an important physical training. On the program, jiu-jitsu classes, a martial art developed by Japanese samurais, and Krav Maga, an Israeli self-defense method used by Sahal and Mossad. There is physical difficulty, as we say at home. It must sting a little, assures Thierry Poirier. Moreover, the apprentice bodyguards will also have the right to learn how to shoot. However, French close protection agents are not authorized to carry a weapon, as may be the case in the United States, for example, explains Albin Yaros. However, they can be exceptionally authorized for specific high-risk missions by requesting a permit to carry a weapon for the prefecture. Of course, these bodyguards will only intervene in case of legitimate defense. However, it is not certain that anyone will want to cross their path. In December 2016, bodyguards in training had conducted an exercise with the theme Extraction of a VIP. The problem? This training was perhaps a little too realistic. So much so that the event had to be interrupted by police officers who were convinced that it was a robbery. Indeed, it all started when a plainclothes policeman alerted the police to arrest what appeared to be real robbers. A first patrol quickly arrived at the scene, and more precisely at Georges Médéric Street, where a security company was actually located. Without further delay, the police officers arrested a man with the mask on his face who, however, assured them that it was in fact a simple exercise. Despite this, the officers continued their progression in this warehouse where they came across 3 individuals wearing the same mask. Meanwhile, 3 other patrols arrived to arrest the alleged criminals. As a result, the police handcuffed a new suspect who was quietly waiting in his car, and then a last one equipped with a firearm, but which turned out to be fake. Fortunately, a man finally intervened and told the police that this was indeed a close protection officer training. "We really thought they were robbers," said one officer, adding that there was a big adrenaline rush. Of course, no one will be prosecuted. However, it must be admitted that these apprentice bodyguards have a surprising training, to say the least. As we have seen in various series and movies of all kinds, the job of bodyguard is not always easy. However, Anthony Belanti has acquired a national reputation since he decided to set up his own bodyguard and security guard company in Carcassonne. This former SNCF controller has indeed been the bodyguard of great celebrities such as David Guetta during his visit to France, or the rapper Booba. However, Anthony Belanti did not become a reference in security overnight. In fact, he followed several trainings in the field before becoming a real security technician, even benefiting from the approval of the Ministry of the Interior. And that's not all. As an assiduous sportsman, Anthony Belanti also practices sports, and more particularly martial arts and bodybuilding. And the least we can say is that he is now a real colossus. No wonder his company, Pro Event 11, has been so successful. Contrary to popular belief, a bodyguard does not necessarily look like a muscular man with a shaved head. Far from it. In fact, women are also involved in this very special profession. The proof with Nagla Mohammed. This Egyptian, formerly zookeeper, has indeed decided to dedicate herself to the exclusive protection of women in her country. The reason? Well, this original idea came to her through a friend who proposed her to become a bodyguard. Without hesitation, Nagla Mohammed jumped on the opportunity to protect Egyptian women from physical attacks or sexual harassment, although this job is not quite common for a woman, mainly in Egypt. Nevertheless, Nagla Mohammed does not take her task lightly. If she obviously keeps her femininity in her private life, at work, she adopts an attitude and look that inspire fear, to the delight of the women who call upon her services. Now, Nagla Mohammed, employed by Falcon International Group, one of the largest Egyptian security firms, is often considered in her country as the pioneer of the profession that, presumably, tends to be feminized. In Belval, in the Vosges in France, a company called FS Diamant decided to open its doors to train for the profession of bodyguard. Thus, it is in the heart of the mountains that the trainees live 7 weeks of intensive training to learn how to ensure the defense of the personality they will have to protect in the future. However, if sport is certainly present a little bit all of the time, the trainees are mainly trained to adopt an adequate behavior in front of danger. Their first weapon is communication, or more precisely, conflict management. But this does not mean that the novices do not have the physical ability to neutralize a potential aggressor. Quite the contrary. However, their goal will not be to make a show of force, but rather to dissuade the aggressor from taking action. Nevertheless, if the latter is not convinced, the bodyguards are allowed to use dummy weapons that just hurt. After all, the trainees will have to learn to deal with all kinds of situations, even the most unlikely ones. That's why they also train to control a vehicle, drive in a convoy, assess their environment, evaluate potential threats, extract a person from danger, and much more. In the end, the students will undoubtedly be ready to carry out their mission. As you can see, becoming a bodyguard requires a diploma and skills that go beyond wearing a suit or being a mountain of muscles. And it is certainly not the students of the training center of the security and protection company IFS2I, located in Trouville-sur-Mer, who will say the opposite. During a period of 9 weeks, they are trained to become bodyguards worthy of the name. However, to follow such a training, they must have a medical certificate of aptitude for combat sports, and probably also a good dose of courage, since they follow a quasi-military training. Indeed, the students get up at 6:30 a.m. for a jog. Then it's breakfast, cleaning, showering, and at 9 a.m. classes start, says Stefan Adam, instructor and director of the training center. And after dinner, no need to hope for a free time, since the evening will be dedicated to close combat techniques. Not surprisingly, the center sometimes gets dropouts. It must be said that not everyone can keep up with the pace of life, and we understand why. Contrary to popular belief, women can also be as good bodyguards as men. You doubt it? Then prepare to be surprised, and for good reason. Many personalities now prefer to entrust their bodyguards to women, starting with the current Tanzanian president, Samia Suluhu. Determined to prove that there is nothing impossible they cannot do as well as men, the president has rightly called on women with athletic build, firm face, and dressed in dark clothing. This obviously attracted the attention of the media and a lot of people on the web. But the Tanzanian president is not the only one who had the idea to use women as bodyguards. In fact, an Asian businessman was also spotted with 4 women wearing sunglasses, who are none other than his own bodyguards. Hired for 24 hours, these professional bodyguards accompanied him to protect jewelry worth 1.6 billion won. Only that, and we can imagine that they succeeded in their mission with ease. You have probably never heard of the Soco combat system, and yet this sport is indispensable for countless policemen, soldiers, but also for bodyguards. Why? Simply because it is a training system that allows professionals to learn how to defend themselves under real conditions. But what is so special about the Soco combat system, you might ask? Well, it was created from the fact that there is no martial art that can gather the most adequate techniques to defend oneself. So Soco combat system was born with the aim to extract the best of several martial arts, including Wing Chun, Ninjutsu, Kali Eskrima, Real Aikido, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that bodyguards can learn to defend themselves in a very short time. This must obviously be very effective for all close security guards. At Genghis Security School in China, the students, all dressed up in crisp black suits and white shirts, work hard no matter how cold it is in the winter. Indeed, during their training, the students are subjected to an iron discipline, training from dawn to midnight, and confiscated cell phones. The reason? Well, this unique institution trains the elite bodyguards for the wealthiest entrepreneurs, some of whom are at the head of the largest real estate and technology companies in China. Thus, the students are not allowed to make mistakes, and especially not during their training. Otherwise, they risk doing no less than 50 push-ups. A very strict discipline which, for the founder of the school, Chen Yongqing, is of crucial importance. It is only by being firm that one can forge a good sword. Otherwise, it will break in two on its own, said the former military man, who also claims to have a lively temperament and to be very demanding. However, according to him, military training is no longer enough to be a good bodyguard, since this profession requires the development of many other, more subtle skills. This is why students are also trained to thwart the hacking of a smartphone, ensure the security of a computer network, or prevent the risks of espionage. All in all, the Genghis Security Academy students become bodyguards as surprising as they are exemplary. Ensuring the protection of company bosses, political figures, or celebrities is not always an easy task, even for the most experienced bodyguards. Indeed, the latter do not limit themselves to accompany and protect a personality. In fact, their mission is mainly to be able to adapt to different situations while analyzing the risks. But that is not all. They must also be able to implement security strategies, plan protective measures, assess threats at the right moments, analyze suspicious behavior, and much more. At the same time, bodyguards specialized in VIP protection also learn to be very discreet and mainly to master hand-to-hand combat or armed combat in some cases. However, there are many other elements that must be taken into consideration in order for such a complex mission to be carried out to perfection, which, not surprisingly, requires proper training. Now it's your turn to tell us in the comments which of these bodyguard trainings surprised you the most. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, to subscribe to the channel, and to activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything of our next videos. See you tomorrow, same time, same channel for a new video.